Games. I'm Jason.
I'm Peter.
And look at this. We have some more fun guests with us this week from the Seal Rescue Ireland. We have got Blythe and Ian. So, hello.
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 And we will be talking today in our feature segment about this great game, Angler Antics and Selkie Shenanigans, which is, we'll talk all about how it benefits seal rescue and how much fun it is. Also, today, we're going to be talking about a tiny cassette tape board game with dungeon punk vibes, a very cool essay, video essay that won an award about Kurt Vonnegut's game GHQ, which I love. And 2 new Discworld board games are on the way, a classic remake and a Sam Vimes murder simulator.
Mm-hmm.
So let's jump in right away with the
Hold on, let's talk about this one thing just real quick. Yeah.
All right. Since with the stories, I've only got one, you got 2, I'll talk about this one.
Okay.
All right. So we have got a new product coming out soon for Top Secret. Scott Congable has been working on this for quite a long time, and it is the Top Secret Tradecraft Manual. So if you play Top Secret, you'll know that one of the core mechanics of the game is your skills, or in the spy lingo, we call them your tradecraft. But in the original book, they're basically just listed with maybe a short paragraph or a couple of sentences about what each one is. Scott has gone through and spent a lot of time really researching and digging into them and giving way more description on all of the 30 different tradecraft that are in here. There's also going to be some new ones. There's going to be some new rules, clarifications and enhancements and things like that. Just lots of stuff to make your spy game a lot more fun. It's going to be going on Kickstarter in a few weeks, so we will have the preview up and we'll give everybody the link next week. Just wanted to give a little sneak peek, the cover art and the insides and all the cool stuff.
Yeah. It's a beefy book.
So
let's put it that way.
You can find out what cratology really is.
Yeah. Flaps and seals, right?
Yes. And hello to everybody in the chat who caught on that we're going early tonight because the time zones are crazy. We didn't want to make our guests show up at like 2 a.m. their time. So
right.
Appreciate everybody who showed up early tonight. And hi, Brian. Hi, Shane. Hi, David, and everybody else. And Scott.
Yeah. Easy for us to show up this time. Pretty hard for them to show up at our time.
Yeah.
All right. So first game we're going to talk about, or the first news item that we're going to talk about is Brute Fort. That's a cute name. It's a love letter to zine culture and old school dungeon crawling, all packed into a double cassette case. So it's you get a, like old school's cassette case for all you kids out there. There was this thing called cassettes we used to listen to, and so it comes in a cassette. And what's really awesome about it is that there's also a cassette in there. It's not just how they deliver the game. So it comes with some cards. It comes with the liner of the inside of the cassette case. Again, for all you young whippersnappers out there, the cassette cases had this like little fold up thing that went into them, which had your art, your album art or whatever on it. And then like you'd open it up and sometimes you could unfold it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Jason's going to show one, right?
Well, I remembered that when we were at Justin Soroy's, one of his gaming events in Baltimore, I picked up a bunch of cassettes from gamers. These are not what you have. These are not full games. These are actually soundtracks for games, which I thought was a brilliant idea. And I don't have a cassette player that's working right now, so I don't know what they sound like. But I just wanted to show what you were talking about is the cassettes used to come with these inserts, and sometimes they're just like this. Sometimes they would fold out again and again and again. So that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. So so this folds out and it gives you your game board. You can see it down if you're watching live. You can see it down the lower left. It looks like your game board, and then it comes with 18 cards, I believe. And each of these, these cards are what you use to play the game. And then, you got to use some dice, which everybody has 6-sided. So that's, I don't think the game comes with those, but I don't think you really, if you're a gamer at all and you don't have 4 or 5 6-sided, you're not really a gamer, in my opinion.
You've got to have a dollar. You got a dollar store in your neighborhood if you don't.
Right. Yeah. Go rob your Monopoly board. But anyway, this looks really cool. It's, so it comes from designer Alfred Valley. I think he's from the UK, and experimental musician Gus BC. I love musician names. Gus BC. It's a micro solar dungeon crawler, and it fits inside a cassette tape case. Oh yeah, 18 cards, and it has a soundtrack that's grimy, doomy, and 80s inspired pulp synth. And when I was at the website, at the Kickstarter site, because it's already live, they had some samples of the music on the Kickstarter, and it was really cool. It's definitely 80s synth and like dark and gloomy. It's awesome. It's actually really good.
So the cassette, you get the music on the cassette?
Yeah, that's what you get on the cassette. Comes with the music that you play the game with. So, imagine.
And do they have the explanation for our wonderful younger gamers as to what a cassette is, where you're going to find the ability to play it, and how you stick a pen in it to rewind it? Like, is that part of it? Or
right. I don't know if it comes with those directions.
Right.
But
let me
here, hold on.
Make
Jason,
sure I'll take my cassette out here, and if your cassette gets messed up, you just stick your pencil in and just wind it right back up.
Right.
So, well, actually, Ian, has the cassette revival made it to Ireland, or has it been there all along?
Oh, there are still, I would say, Ireland has this wonderful habit of holding on to things. So I happen to have VHS tapes put away. Do we have a way to play them? No, but they're there.
Just in case, we have them.
And
somewhere in a box, there's a Walkman, I'm sure.
Right.
I
actually just got done inventorying everything in my basement and found my old flip phone that I had the other day. I found a couple of my iPods that were laying around down there.
Right.
And I did find a cassette player, which I haven't brought up to see if it's going to work yet, but it's the same thing. I've got all of the stuff too. I found a bunch of VHS tapes as well. So
I think it's really awesome, but like the idea, I love it. And I was reading through it, and I'm like, wow, one person, like this is you're trying to get to the points and etc. But going, yeah, and it's on a cassette tape, and I'm like, okay, awesome, amazing, love it. There. Don't know if I have anything in this house that I could play that music.
Well, I think it's okay for the game because you don't need the cassette tape to actually play the game. It's just it's nice to have the music to play with.
I think it's amazing, and I want it, and I want to hear the music, and I know people who are going to love this. I just need to find a Walkman now.
Yeah, you know what? They're selling them again. They are selling them again.
It really is a revival. So I go to see a lot of shows. By shows, I mean bands. And so a lot of these bands are, very young bands, just kind of to the point where some of them are having to play all ages shows. And the younger the crowd, here's what I'm noticing. The younger the crowd, the more there are paper zines for sale and actual cassettes of the band being sold. It's just become sort of like a backlash to everything being so digital and so AI and everything else that a lot of times when I talk to younger gamers and musicians and just general weirdos, they just want analog stuff. So they're buying. I also I was at a what do you call it? A repair workshop a while ago on repairing some old vintage computers, and some high school kids came in with their boom boxes because they wanted to get those repaired. So
amazing.
You never know.
That is wild.
It's great.
Here, hold on, wait a minute. Let me do something real quick.
All right.
Here, let's do this. Share. Can I share?
Oh no, what are we about to see?
See my screen if I can stop screwing around.
Okay.
Get it up. There we go. Got it. All right. There you go. 1999.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
All right.
Yeah. That's all you need.
Now, I'm not thinking that's going to sound great.
No.
But
still, it'll probably sound better than the one I had when I was like 14.
Right.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
Nearly.
I'm just saying. So they're still out there. You can still get them. Not a problem.
When I was in high school, I had an old Fiat convertible that must have been 15 years old and had a cassette deck that was probably no more than $19 either. So every single thing I listened to sounded like garbage. So I mean, so what?
Yeah. Well, most of the stuff we ever listened to, like punk rock stuff, It was okay. It was fine. Maverick made it better.
Yeah. In fact, a lot of my favorite songs now, if they don't go woo 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 in the middle, I think something's wrong.
I had this.
Wait, that wasn't part of the song originally? I'm confused.
No, I know. I'm like, wait, isn't this song supposed to kind of slow down and go blah 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 blah? No, that was the cassette tape being ruined.
My favorite collection tape thing that somebody gave me when I was like 17. I was out mowing the lawn, and I went to stop the cassette player, and I accidentally hit the record as well because you could. That was one of the ones you could record. So there's this one like second long. Because I was like, oh no, and I clicked right. There's this 1 second long piece on this track, this collection I would listen to all the time, where it would stop and you'd hear a lawnmower, and then it would go back to the song. So that lawnmower sound became part of the song.
Yeah.
So, the good old days. Anyway, so the the gameplay follows a solo game loop of and there's a building score on the soundtrack. You explore brute fort by placing challenge cards row by row, and each card has 2 sides. There's a conquest, and then there's a peril, and you don't want the peril, but sometimes you have to do it. By earning conquests, you get it helps your heroes out. Resolve can sometimes burn your hero out, which you don't want. I mean, you have 3 of them that you play, but sometimes it's necessary. The game itself is mostly complete. Kickstarter funds will support testing, refinement, and soundtrack polishing. It is available now, and it runs through until December 2nd. And here's the beautiful part. There's a print at home edition with a digital soundtrack for $9. $9,
Yeah.
right? Okay. And the full physical game and cassette is only $34 plus shipping. Very reasonable.
Worth it.
Yeah.
And I love the name. What a good name.
Yeah.
I think like as soon as we get off this, I'm going to go into Blind and basically I'll be like, hey, so do you want? Oh, you're already on the website. Okay.
So Jason, does this? I'm guessing it's 18 cards, and our micro games was going to be has to fit on like a page and back. I still think this qualifies. No or no?
No. I would not call this a micro RPG. This would not be. This would not qualify for Honey, I Shrunk the Dice. This would qualify for one of the other ones like the
was it outside the box one or
I should have all these memorized, shouldn't I? Let me go to goldenfez.com and remember what the words were. But this would be something for I would definitely put this in a design like the Velvet Smooth Award, because that one's for design. I would consider this to be good for the Velvet Smooth Award, or maybe the Hack the Planet Award, which is the most original idea.
Yes. Yeah, it's very
And who knows?
I agree.
I mean, it could be anything. Could be
that's cool. Very cool. All right. Let's go into the next story. This one's interesting. Jason, you found this one.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. Like a year ago there we talked about this game, GHQ, which has a fascinating provenance. Okay, so Kurt Vonnegut, I don't think that name is going to be unfamiliar to most people, even if you've never read his books. How do you avoid the name Kurt Vonnegut, right?
Right.
One of my favorite authors of all time, a lot of people's favorite authors of all time. Nobody's ever thought of him as a board game designer because he never had a published board game in his life, and he never talked about this either. But early on in Kurt Vonnegut's career, when he had maybe one book out and it was a flop, and he had kind of bounced from job to job, and he didn't know what he was going to do, and he thought, I know how I will get fame and riches. I'll be a board game designer.
Sorry, Kurt.
So what he did, he designed this game called GHQ, which is actually a lot of fun, but he spent ages kind of going around from place to place getting rejection letters just like this one. So this is actually one of the things that comes in the box when you buy it. It comes with a rejection letter, or actually in this case, this is not a rejection letter. This is a letter from Kurt Vonnegut to a game company, which was later rejected. And so I just thought this was really cool. There was an award given recently. This was the, oh gosh, what was the award? I don't even know what award she won. I guess I should have written down what the name of the award was that she won. But anyway, there is a really interesting board game designer and essayist whose name's Annabelle Holland. And she recently did a video essay about GHQ. And so I just thought that was fascinating. I didn't even know you could win an award for a video essay. And apparently, I don't know what the award is. If anybody knows, let me know. Maybe I'll open the link and find out while we're at it. The Bobby Nunes Memorial Award. There we go.
Ah, there we go.
This is at the San Diego Historical Games Convention. And so I really enjoyed watching this essay. It's about an hour long, and we'll link to it in the show notes or whatever we do with things like that. But basically, what was interesting about this is, so first of all, Annabelle is it Annabelle or Amabelle? Amabelle, with an M for Mary. Yeah. Amabelle is herself a board game designer who has designed and published at least 38 board games to date under the company Hollandspiel Games, because her last name's Holland. And I looked at some of the stuff, and I had seen some of them before. They're fascinating games. I mean, just if nothing else, you should look her up and look up Hollandspiel Games and some of the really original and out there designs that she's come up with. And this essay began with just a little bit of talking about how she found out about it and how she doesn't go to conventions at all. And she just happened to be in the same area as Gen Con when she was going to a Kurt Vonnegut party. And because Kurt Vonnegut famously is from Indiana, and Gen Con is now in Indiana. So she ran into all these folks and they're like, oh, finally, you're going to Gen Con. She's like, no, I don't go to Gen Con. I'm going to Kurt Vonnegut's party. But I thought it was interesting. First of all, she points out that this game has been mostly ignored or whatever by the general actual board game community, right? Because people who are specifically into board games now, whether they're Eurotrash or Ameritrash or whatever type of style they like, tend to go for things that are modern and very different. And what we're looking at here with GHQ, this is a game that was designed in the 1950s, and it shows.
It looks so 50s. I love it.
It does. It does. I have well, you know what? I won't even show the board here because you've got a better picture on the screen. Yeah. But what you can see by looking at it is, so Kurt Vonnegut designed something that has a war game flavor to it, I'll say. In terms of what it is. So you can leave that image up on the screen. I'm just going to look at my board. Excuse me. And it's got a map of Europe on it, showing Belgium and France and Luxembourg, etc. And you can see some sort of cartoonish drawings behind it, showing battles of World War II. And it definitely reflects the area that Kurt Vonnegut himself was stationed during World War II. Mm-hmm. And so on the surface of it, you'd think he's gone for something kind of like a war game. But when it comes to the mechanics, it's not a chess variant, right? It's definitely not a chess variant. But it has, you can see just by looking at it here, you've got 64 squares like a chessboard, and you have pieces that have specific movements they can make like chess. But it's all about tactical movement of your different pieces, from aircraft to artillery, etc. And the rules are really elegant. I've played it a few times. It's incredible fun to play. People who like chess, who like abstract games, any of those kind of things will definitely like this. But it has been, as I said, mostly ignored by the gaming community and more paid attention to by the literary community because of Kurt Vonnegut's connection. I think a testament to that is that most board games do not come with an introduction like a book. This one does. And it's got an introduction by James S.A. Corey, who famous, which is actually a pen name for multiple people. Peter, you can explain who they are better.
I can't remember their names. There's two authors, and they write together on like their most famous thing currently is The Expanse. So if you've ever seen the show or read the books about The Expanse, that's them.
Yeah. So, and of course, they're massive Vonnegut fans, as pretty much anybody who's a writer is, or should be at least. So, and another interesting thing about it is that it's sold primarily through Barnes and Noble. I don't know if Barnes and Noble is a chain in Europe. Are they?
No, but we have been indoctrinated by American television so much that we do know what it means.
Okay. What is the large? Is there a main book chain?
Eason's and
In Ireland, it would be Eason's. That's the Irish one. There is.
Are they in the rest of Europe too, or just Ireland?
We don't really know. It's very local. There's not really a big. We don't have a cross Europe. A lot of things like there's really not a lot that will be cross border in regards to.
I'm not going to find TK Maxx in Germany.
You will, but you'll also find it's because it's an American. Well, I thought it was an American thing. But so basically, is it? Oh, are these things in all of Europe? Yes. Why? Because America put them there.
Oh God!
Jesus.
It's not. It's less of a. Whereas we made up something in this part of culture.
Dude, man, we get our crap all over everything, don't we?
I still don't know whether the original name is TJ Maxx or TK Maxx, because in America it's TJ Maxx, in Ireland it's TK Maxx, and I don't know which one came first.
Okay.
A lot of the times there will be. So, for instance, when you have a fast food chain called Johnny Rockets.
Yes. Oh my gosh! I was so amazed to see that there was a Johnny Rockets in Ireland.
There's not. We can't have a Johnny Rockets in Ireland.
But what's it called?
It's called Eddie Rockets. When it's
Eddie Rockets.
Do you know why?
My God. No, why?
No, I don't know why.
In Ireland, a Johnny is a slang term for prophylactic. For a condom.
Right.
So you can imagine
actually
Johnny Rockets would very well.
Or it would do incredibly well.
Or it would do amazingly
very
well.
confused customers.
Right.
Well, when so my old roommate was from South Africa, and when he first moved to the United States, I thought he was going to die laughing the first time that we walked past a store called Fanny Farmers.
Right.
Yeah, there's that.
So. Or like when Americans wear their fanny packs, you know.
Well, the best thing was
my darling wife has had all of those experiences as I imported her direct from America. The paperwork was a lot, but.
Oh, you know, I am terrible at listening for accents. You're from America?
Yes, but I've lived all over the States. So my accent is not specific to a region unless I purposefully make it that way.
Well, the other problem is there are Irish accents that you have to listen to a person for a while to realize that it's an Irish and not an American one. You know, Rory's got one of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
he's a very nice boy from a nice part of Dublin. Yes.
It's the nicer parts of Dublin.
So here's the thing: we found out because the ubiquitousness of American media and so many in urban areas, it's not that the TV is the babysitter, but it might as well be. That you end up exposed to so much that you aren't as taking on of. Now, I speak thusly. I do not speak like my parents or my sisters, as Blythe found out when she met them, because they are from what would be considered a rougher part of Dublin. And so they'd have quite deeper, rougher accents, whereas mine's a bit flatter. And so, and they say that Ireland, or I can't remember where I read it, but it was said that there's the greatest amount of dialects and accents per capita in the world is in Ireland, and I well believe you.
I tell you, it's causing me. So I'm trying to start learning Gaeilge right now. Trying to start learning Irish. Grow off my god. So but the thing is that as I listen to different videos and different everything else, there are so many different accents and dialects of Irish as well that I'm like, well, which pronunciation am I learning? I don't even know yet. So
you have to pick one.
Yeah, exactly.
There's three main ones, which is Connacht, Munster, and Donegal. Forget Donegal. Forget it. Try. Just accept that you'll never get there and chuck it out the window. There is dyed in the wool Gaeilgeoirs who have spoken Irish all their lives, but they're Munster Irish. So if they went up to Donegal, they'd be like, "What are these people saying?" So go with Munster generally. Sometimes Connacht, but what we're taught in school, I believe it's Connacht Irish.
Okay.
Or Munster Irish, but which are very similar. A wonderful thing you can go to is there's a wonderful website called Changalan. I'm probably mispronouncing that, Teanglann, and that will actually have little audio files of the different accents for the word.
Oh, I'm gonna get that link from you later.
Yeah,
I mean, here's a tip for anybody if you're going to Ireland. There are many pubs where you will get money off if you order in Irish.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah. So it's just a money saving thing. I'm just cheap.
Yeah. But this is the thing, because specifically, it's all Americans that I meet are lovely because you all have passports and you come here and you're the nice kind of American who will come and talk to me because you have left. So obviously I'm going to meet the nice ones. But there is as you say, the stereotype of the loud American tourist and etc. So everything you can do to kind of go, look, I am integrating. I am not forcing it's always good.
I will admit that's part of it for me. Yeah. I think just at the very least, if I can, go up to a coffee shop and instead just say, like a coupon coffee more, instead of asking for a large coffee, I would just be a little bit more respectful. I don't know.
How many times now? There's two things. One, I'm sure you get a lot of shocked looks that an American is trying to speak Irish because there is the stereotype that they wouldn't. But unfortunately, as you probably found out, not a large amount. It's what lum ag kaint Gaeilge. Maar ní ein cúpla focal gum is I love to speak Irish, but I only have very low vocabulary because there isn't a lot of fluent Irish speakers. So I can well imagine that you would go up to somebody in an Irish pub and have no idea. You'd be like, listen, speak English again.
I'll just go and follow Kneecap around on tour.
Yeah, do.
So I'll just do
very
that.
fun. Yeah, you should do that.
So real quick, Shane in the chat room says that TJ Maxx changed to TK Maxx in Europe to avoid confusion with the store TJ Hughes.
What?
Which I don't know. So
I've never heard of TJ Hughes, and can you imagine somebody being confused? Oh,
Yeah.
Is this TJ Maxx or TJ Hughes? I don't know where I am.
Have you not heard about the fact that McDonald's can't use Big Mac anymore in Ireland because we have a burger chain called Super Max that pre-existed them in Europe. So if you will not see Big Macs for sale in Ireland anymore because Super Max won the lawsuit.
Is it a
So,
royal?
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
you can get confused.
That's okay. Well, we've gone way off track, but I will say
We
one
have.
last thing.
I'm so sorry.
Have you seen the movie Coming to America with Eddie Murphy?
Yes, that's amazing.
McDowell's. The
I love
McDowell's
it, McDowell's.
restaurant. So
They have the
McDowell's.
golden arches. We have the golden arcs.
Yes.
It's completely different.
Such a good movie. So okay, to wrap up this story, it's a great video essay. You should definitely see it. She talks a lot about the importance of game preservation, and I think it's we got off track like this because I mentioned that they were only sold in Barnes and Noble, and I'm sure if this was still back in the day when we had lots of big bookstore chains like Walden Books and the rest of them, then there'd be more. But yes, it's being sold mostly as the kind of thing for people to say, oh, it's a novelty, it's a Kurt Vonnegut board game. But I would really encourage anybody to get out, pick it up and play it. It's incredible fun. And it gives you kind of a connection. If you love Kurt Vonnegut, you can kind of feel a connection to his earlier life just by reading the rules. So there's even some humor in there.
And it also helps support one of the last bookstores, one of the last big bookstores around. So, it's always good to go to the store. Don't, you can buy stuff on Amazon, but Amazon basically killed all the damn bookstores. So
I know it's terrible. I mourn what has happened to the ability to walk into a store and buy something anymore.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, anyways, it's a great video essay, really worth taking a look at, and I would recommend go have a look, have a listen, and have some fun.
Yeah. All right, we got another story. Our next story is one that Jason loves. He could have taken all of these, by the way. This is Discworld. So 2 new Discworld board games are on the way. A classic, I don't know how to pronounce this. Kiniza?
I don't know. I've never heard of Knizia.
Knizia?
K-N-I-Z, American,
Yeah.
I-A.
Right.
The Knizia remake.
And then a Sam Vimes murder simulator.
So, all right. First of
who's
all, if
Sam
you're not
Vimes?
looking at this Kill Sam Vimes looks like Kill Bill,
Yeah.
which is great.
I love that.
I assumed that this was going to be something related to Kill Dr. Lucky.
Now, hold on.
Maybe it's not.
Just so you know, there's a little note down the bottom that says image is not the final artwork. It is just a placeholder created by Better Than a Poke in the Eye, whoever that is. I found these online, so these aren't the actual images. Although the guy on the cover is from the site, is from their Modifius site.
Yeah, so that's classic Paul Kirby artwork. Or wait, there was 2 different Kirbys. I'm gonna guess from your reactions so far, Blythe and Ian, that you're both Discworld fans.
Ian has every single book, duplicates of some of them, and several of them are signed.
So a bit of a fan, huh?
A little bit.
I may have entire large books that are anthologies of short stories because one Discworld short story was in that anthology and it's the only place you can get it.
This is as much as I couldn't pick up my whole collection at once. I just started to grab. I've been making a point of I only collect the Corgi covers, the originally Corgi covers.
Yeah, because that would be unusual because they did these weird, like all black, freaky ass covers in America. I saw some of them. I was like, "What are you trying to do?"
Well, so I used to live in London back when I was younger, back in the 90s, and so I started reading Terry Pratchett. Then that's when when he was so big, and so those were the books that everybody had. And so when I moved back to America and found out that we had these ugly covers, I was really disappointed. So it's taken me a long time to get.
Jack Kirby is as much as part of Discworld as like the to me, because those were all the covers, and amazing wraparound covers that were a complete like scene, and you'd even be kind of trying to see behind the title of the book, and it wraps all the way around. It's a full scene, and you'd be like, what is under that eye? What is under the letter I there? I mean, like there's just something, and then it's beautiful,
amazing. So that's the thing. There's Jack Kirby and Paul Kirby, and I don't think they're related. Kidby? Is it Kidby? Okay, that's it. So they're coincidentally similar names.
Similar, yes. Yeah, but Paul is Kidby, as far as I'm aware. I think they're
both great artists. I forget who's the first artist who passed away.
Jack Kirby was the first artist. He was the first artist for where Paul Kidby was later.
Yeah. But I do love both of them. I love both.
Yes, they have very different styles, but very suitable styles. And specifically, it was because the original Discworld books, the first one, were literally like, what if sword and fantasy, but taking the piss. The dial it up to 11, show how ridiculous this is. And then it just became, and it was brilliant because that was me. I was growing up and becoming more complicated as the stories and the books and the themes were becoming more complicated. So me, it was amazing. And then you get the Sam Vines and you read through and you're like, oh yeah, it's a really good Sam. And you read back and you're like, whoo, this is some hard social commentary. Ooh, that's tough when I pay attention.
I learned history by reading these books because I, just thought, oh, it's kind of fun. Sam Vimes, and he's talking about the Battle of Cable Street in Discworld. And then I found out there was a real Battle of Cable Street. And then I learned that it was about the time that all of these Londoners came out and they fought against the fascists because Oswald Mosley was leading a group called the British League of Fascists, and they were trying to storm through a Jewish neighborhood, and all the Londoners, not just the Jewish people in the neighborhood, all come out and they fought them with bricks and they drove them back. I didn't know any of that until I read a Terry Pratchett book.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and there's something too, like what you were saying. I've noticed with me and with other people that I've spoken with on this is that there are certain media that hits you at the right time. Like someone today who's say in their 30s tries to read Terry Pratchett Terry Pratchett for the first time may not have the same effect on them as it did you guys.
It
right?
will. It will.
Will it? Okay, I'm just saying it, but it might.
Here's my belief. So Douglas Adams, one of my other favorite authors, I think if you read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy at age 20 now, it probably won't hit the same way.
Right.
But if you read Terry Pratchett, it will.
Okay, so if Terry Pratchett,
that's my belief.
But there are a lot of things, like, I always talk about. I love the movie Flash Gordon, right? But that's because I saw it when I was 10 years old, and I actually saw it before I saw any of the Star Wars movies. It was my first modern sci-fi movie, because prior to that, you had the 60s and the 50s, and all this sci-fi movies were a certain way. But once you get into the late 70s, there's a switch. Star Wars kind of flipped the switch, and then like you had Flash Gordon, you had a whole bunch of other ones. But it was the first one I saw. So it actually has a really warm spot in my heart. But if I watched it right now for the first time, I would think it was a stupid movie, and I'd be like, who likes this? You know what I mean? But I can watch it over and over.
Peter, have I ever told you that before, this is when, I don't know how old I was, like 10 or something, whatever year Flash Gordon came out. Before I saw Flash Gordon, that I accidentally saw Flesh Gordon.
Oh no! Oh no! Okay, that's a different movie. It's a very different movie, Jason.
They showed it at the drive-thru.
Oh, there is an R-rated version of that, though. There isn't. You probably saw the R-rated version.
Yeah, the one that's probably not a full porno. But
that's awesome.
No.
That's actually
somehow my parents didn't realize that they were letting me go see Flesh Gordon.
That's awesome. It's actually funny. All right. Anyway,
but I'll just say one more thing with Terry Pratchett is there's a lot of younger readers who are discovering Terry Pratchett now, because many people don't necessarily want to read Harry Potter anymore, because unfortunately the author of Harry Potter has kind of ruined Harry Potter for a lot of people, and so one of the things that comes up with that is, well, why don't you read Terry Pratchett instead of reading J.K. Rowling? And so a lot of younger readers do that and discover an author that they truly love. And one of the reasons is, ironically, J.K. Rowling, who's known for being very anti-trans. Terry Pratchett, this was at a time when nobody was talking about the issue. It wasn't a thing where he was writing something because he thought it would get him accolades or anything, but the way that he treats dwarves in the books, because dwarves in Discworld, dwarves canonically, you cannot tell their gender by looking at them. They all have beards and all that kind of thing. And so one of the characters, Cheery Littlebottom, who is a woman, but you can't tell because she's a dwarf, decides that she wants to actually start wearing makeup and skirts. And so it becomes this whole storyline. And a lot of, you can really look at it as like a trans, what's the word I'm looking for? Metaphor?
Yeah. It's an analogy for how a trans person coming out, and specifically like to the point of the Dwarven Society's reaction and the fact that they have to defend it. And amazingly, because they're also the two races of dwarves and trolls have a very traditional, we hate each other because one of us are made of rocks and the other was mine's true rocks looking for precious gems, and we are rocks made of precious gems. So like there's this thing, and then they have this wonderful scene where they're traveling and there's a load of dwarves that stop them, and they're stopped by, and they see Cheery in just a very utilitarian leather skirt.
Yeah,
and there's a harsh, and there's like the harsh word in dwarfish, and then detritus, the troll, reaches for his weapon and goes, "I think you want not to say that," because he, a troll, has learned dwarfish enough to defend his friend.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
awesome.
And
I'm like, that's the kind of, but that to me is a very good example of how Sir Terry Pratchett, probably we should say, because he did get knighted.
Thank you. Yes, Sir Terry Pratchett.
I've had to do emails back and forth with his people because of having to get permission to do Tud the musical, The LARP, and some other Discworld. A lot of my early work for Irish Cons was in Discworld because I was obsessed. So I literally, we had emails back and forth of going, would it be okay if we did this? We're going to do it. It's not for profit, etc. I'm sure, Mr. Pratchett, to which we got a reply. Sir Terry, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry. Yes, thank you for that little reminder. But that's a wonderful example of how he just takes what is a completely fantastical world and basically uses it to go, hi, here's the world you're living in and how it could be better.
Yeah, it really is. He started out as almost a farce, right? Like if you read The Color of Magic, it's a farce. But then as he goes on, that's why people love Discworld so much, is because yes, it's got humor in it, but it's not like you're reading a comic romp. It's a lot deeper. There's a lot more there.
It's deep, intelligent humor.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
It should be said.
But written with the skill of somebody who knows how to reach people without trying to lord over them with a bunch of flowery language too.
Right.
To bring it back to the game, which we probably should.
There is a game.
The character of Sam Vines, and so I've read up on what they're doing with this, and it's basically you're members of the Assassin's Guild trying to kill Sam Vines. The reason that's so funny is in the books, Sam Vines is one of the few people that the Assassin's Guild refuses to accept thing on, because he is just so paranoid that he generally just leaves them hanging upside down over like spikes or something, and then you're like, there's this wonderful scene where he's like, all right, who hired you to? Yeah, I did arrest that nobleman's son. Yeah, that's it. So it must have been a really high price. Yeah, a lot of heavy gold, probably weighing you down on that rope there over those spikes. That'll go into the Winterford Orphans Fund. That's why it's so funny that they would have a kill Sam Vine game, because he is, like, to me, hearing that's what they were going to do is, okay, so is the goal not to die? The goal can't be to kill Sam Vines. That's impossible. So is the goal not to die?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't wait to see what it is.
I'm very interested. Very intrigued.
Yeah.
All right, I have to ask you, since I'm talking to really serious Discworld fans. I always want to ask this question to everybody who's a Discworld fan. Who in your head do you cast? What actor do you cast if you were living or dead? If you were casting Sam Vines?
Oh.
While you're thinking, I'll give you mine. I've always thought of Sam Vines as John Thaw. Do you know who he is?
I may be terrible with names.
1970s cop show, The Sweeney.
I know of it, but I don't know.
Yeah, so he played the lead in The Sweeney, which, for those who don't know, The Sweeney is, if you've ever seen the show Life on Mars, it's about a cop who goes back to the 70s and everything's very rough and tough, and it's basically inspired by The Sweeney, which was a cop show in the 70s about cops who basically would just come up and just punch you rather than arrest you. And the main character, Jack Regan, is played by John Thaw, and to me he is Sam Vines. So who's yours?
Would Vinnie Jones be a good choice?
That's pretty good.
Okay,
I can see a Vinnie Jones and Sam Vines.
Yeah, I think he could give a very good presentation. Or Jason Statham.
Oh,
that's a good one.
I would, because he can, like, I've seen him give that calm, I'm about to kick your ass, or I'm about to come up on top, and I'm being very stoic about it. I've seen him with his Transporter and some other movies. There's been a couple of times that I think back to them like that. There's a little bit of Sam Vines there.
I was thinking Liam Neeson, but like deadpan.
Ooh.
Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson could character the hell out of Sam Vines.
Yeah, he really could.
He really could, yeah. I may have to admit defeat on that one, yeah.
Yeah. Since my choice is dead, he can't happen. So I'm gonna go with Liam Neeson.
But Liam Neeson wouldn't be too old, would he? Now? No,
because Sam Vines technically is like middle-aged when the books part of the story start.
Excellent.
Because he shows up as this washed up watch captain. So he's canonically like 40s, 50s at the start of all this.
Oh, there you go then.
Yeah, who was the guy that said I'm getting too old for this shit?
Was that Die Hard?
Yeah, no, not Die Hard. The one with Mel Gibson.
Oh, that's Danny Glover.
Danny Glover.
Yeah.
Danny Glover would make a good Sam Vines, because basically Sam Vines is the walking epitome of I'm getting too old for this shit.
Oh God,
Although I guess Danny Glover's a bit old for it now too.
he's a little, yeah, he might be a little bit old for it.
I would say, yeah, but Sam Vimes doesn't say that until everything's done, everything's sorted, and now the body checks have come due and everything's twanging. Because he's never like stopping in the middle of a chase and saying, I'm getting too old for this. He just like goes on until, and then he realizes afterwards, once the thing's been saved or once the thing's been done, it's like,
Right.
okay.
All right,
Which
so
I
we
think
haven't
is-
gone a lot into the games themselves,
No.
but I think we've told everybody these are coming, and that's
Yes.
enough. If you
Yeah.
love
The-
Discworld, this is a good time to love
And
Discworld.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say on this is that the Reader's Digested is in 2026, early 2026, and Kill Sam Vimes is in Q3 of 2026. So,
Too long to wait.
So spring and fall.
That's what to say.
all right, that's it for that. Next story.
Let's get to the
is-
main
the main
event.
story. Here we go.
Dun dun dun. Hold on, wait. Let me get my hat for this so that I'm ready. All right.
Oh,
hold on a second.
yeah.
There we go.
All right, there we go. All right, hold on. There you go.
Nice.
There we go. I'm ready. I've got my SEAL Rescue hat.
He's representing.
All right, so I'm going to do the very briefest of introductions because I think you all should really be the ones to tell us what's going on here. So I'll just explain how we decided to have Ian and Blythe come on tonight. I was at GaleCon a few weeks ago, as everybody knows, because I won't shut up about it because it was that good of a convention. And in the trade hall, what very, very first table that we encountered just said SEAL Rescue Ireland came up, and here they are promoting this game for SEAL Rescue Ireland and showing us all of the actual SEALs that were involved, and they had character sheets for their real SEALs, which was enough for make me just fall in love with these SEALs. And I wanted to know more, found out more, and said, please come on the show and tell us what you've done. So that's as much as I will say. Take it away.
Yes, Marge, take it away.
All right, so SEAL Rescue Ireland. First of all, I was an intern at SEAL Rescue Ireland. My internship has ended, and I have just stayed on as a volunteer because SEALs. That's all I have to say about that part. SEAL Rescue Ireland is a SEAL rescue for all of the Republic of Ireland. We rescue baby SEALs from all over the 3,000 kilometers of coastline. So we'll pick up SEALs that are injured, that have been separated from their moms, that are dehydrated or basically in need of any kind of attention, and we'll bring them back to the center and make sure that they get back to full health, and then we'll re-release them. So we're a registered nonprofit for Americans who don't know. We call those charities here in Ireland, not so much nonprofit, but that is what we are. We're nearly entirely donation funded. So I did this as a fundraiser, and we created a game based off of Selkie lore, which is common to Ireland and Scotland. And I wanted to bring in a little bit of a mythology background and bring it in with our SEALs. And we took the SEALs that we had up for adoption and we made them playable characters. So if somebody at the convention adopted a SEAL, which goes directly to helping our SEALs, they got to play their SEAL in the game. So we
that's cool.
turn the SEALs that we actually have into playable characters that were Selkies. So we had to.
Jason was asking just to expand on what, because you and I know everything about Selkies, but just to explain in case people don't know what a Selkie is.
A Selkie is a mythical creature who can transform between seal and human. So in much of the lore, Selkie women are usually the ones who are most commonly known, but they're Selkie men as well. A Selkie will come on land, shed their seal skin, and then they can pass as a human. They generally have to hide their seal skin and have their seal skin back on them before they can transform back into a seal and return to the water. So one of the motifs in Selkie lore is that a Selkie woman's seal skin would be stolen and hidden by a human man, and she would become his wife until she finds her seal skin again, and then she goes back to the ocean. That's not the only thing, but it is the most common one that people will recognize.
Damn, that's kind of rude.
I agree. I agree. And after working with the seals like I do.
Married. Well, he wouldn't let me get my skin.
Got my skin.
Talk about getting under somebody's skin. Waka waka.
And after working with the seals myself, I'm like, these were definitely common seals that they found, because if they found a gray seal woman, no, she'd just take him into the sea with her. That'd be it.
That's funny. And I was going to say, this picture, I took this from your website of the seal down here. If you're listening, you have to watch it to see it. But anyway, when you said, well, because of seals, and I just wanted to say, how can you look at that picture and not, I mean, come on,
that's not even like, this is the thing. This is my darling wife who comes home and is like, because here's the thing. These are wild animals, and it's not a sanctuary or a zoo or anything. They're trying to rehabilitate and get back to the wild, so they have to stay as apart as possible. So they can't coo over them. They can't bond with them. They can't, treat them.
Right.
They have to be
They've
wild.
got to go home.
So they have to go in to like that, and then just be professional and not baby talk them. So what happens is she'll be all professional. She'll be this really great, amazing wildlife preservation. Come back, drive home, go to oh my God, and you should have seen. And then he did this thing. Let me show you the video.
Of course.
And it just all pours out as soon as she gets home. So that is tame. That beautiful, adorable little seal is tame compared to some of the harsh little melting moments that you can see.
We recently had a seal pup who discovered his shadow on the side of the ICU tub, and he was waving his flipper, and then he screams at it, and he's trying to catch his shadow. And this goes on for like 5 or 10 minutes. And I saw it first thing in the morning one day when I was like, I do not want to get out of bed. And then I saw this video, and I'm like, right, I'm going to work. Let's go.
Right. It's awesome.
Yeah. I have not spent time around seals themselves, but in San Francisco, sea lions, who are, I guess, related. I don't know how closely related.
Sea lions and seals, they're all pinnipeds. They're part of a similar family. Sea lions have a different anatomy. They can flip their hind flippers underneath and walk more effectively on land than seals can.
But you when you live in San Francisco, the sea lions they're famous for being on Pier 49, but they're everywhere. And you just could spend the whole day just sitting there, just staring and just falling in love.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They're all amazing creatures and fascinating and somehow elegant and derpy at the same time. I don't know how they manage it, but they do.
That's so good.
Oh God! And this has actually got me, because I'm not technically. I don't technically well. No.
Yeah,
I don't
you are.
Technically, a lot of the stuff I end up doing, I'm not technically a volunteer for Sea Rescue Ireland, as in I have signed up ahead of time. But then she'll come. Look at. Okay, we'll go do a thing. Okay, I'll go.
Did you not?
He gets dragged to events to help me do some outreach and education. He's helped me rescue seals before. We'll go to a beach and determine, send videos back to our animal care team, who decides that seal needs help or it's fine. And if it needs help, herd it into a cage and we'll drive it back to the center. So now we're looking at cars, and it's like, but how many seals can this car hold?
So I have a question. I mean, they are wild animals. So
yes.
Are they? Do you have to be very careful not to get bitten by one of them?
Yes. So for the most part, they're not super aggressive, as in they're not going to chase you down the beach or anything. Right. But they are wild animals and they will react. And these are pups. They're babies. So they don't necessarily have a whole lot of context. And we're showing up on the beach, trying to herd them into a cage. When we get them back to the center, those of us who are trained to actually put our hands on the seals, which we do only in very specific cases. Again, we want to minimize any contact with them. They're scared and they don't know what's going on. And their one defense is their teeth, which are quite sharp. We wear Kevlar gloves. I have been bitten. It is something that we mostly avoid because we're well trained and we know what we're doing. I have amazing managers who make sure that we're all as safe as you can possibly be working with wild animals. But they'll get scared and they'll turn around and they'll get you. And also, like, we're holding their heads so that we don't get bitten. And sometimes, like, a finger just might slip the wrong way, or the seal's a little bit faster than you are after a very long day, and they get you. And that's what happened with me.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Oh, it should be pointed out, they wear the Kevlar, but the teeth still go through the Kevlar.
the teeth go through the Kevlar, yes.
When she said she got bitten, she doesn't mean like, oh, I got bitten, but I was wearing. No. The teeth go through the Kevlar.
Wow.
And it was fairly small scratch. But
yeah, it was enough for antibiotics.
Does the Kevlar at least make it less bad?
Yeah, it can make it less bad.
If you hadn't been wearing the Kevlar gloves, it would have been a lot more than scratch.
You might have lost a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, worth it.
So let's get into the game a little bit.
All right. So before we get into the game itself, tell us about the genesis of the game, and then we'll talk about what the game actually is, as well as the fact that I know you say in here that it uses rules from Rowan's Bay, Tales from Rowan's Bay. So kind of explain to us what Tales from Rowan's Bay is, how this game came about. Just give us the overview.
How did it come about? Was it because I was talking about the seals and their personalities and you're like, that would be a fun thing to play? Or
it was so part of the internship that Blythe was doing is that, hey, interns do this and this, and every intern has to give us a fundraising idea. Not necessarily do it, not necessarily, but it's part of the internship because it's part of working for a charity, is that you have to understand that they have to raise funds. And Blythe, because it's Blythe, came up with 7.
At least, yeah.
Yeah. And we were just brainstorming because that's what she's like. She is one of those lovely, sweet, amazing, annoying people who's just who always has like really good ideas and and remembers things and like has master's degrees and things and all those stuff that I'll never have. But so she was like,
didn't own that.
And I was like, you know what? It would be and also we have I run a D&D game with Blythe and some other people. And so it's a very story based, like I have story points, so it's very narrative. You can spend a lot that isn't to do with rules or rolling dice just because of story.
What system is it?
Oh, and just stuff I'm making up. I've literally just taken D&D 5e, cut it down a lot, and it was used to. I was already doing it anyway, and then all of my D&D games, I go, can I use this to do this, even though the rules don't say I can? I'm like, yeah, that makes entire sense. That would make sense in this story. You go ahead. And so I wanted to give my players some agency in that rather than just hoping.
So how did that translate to
so you were talking about something about wanting, I think it was that you wanted your next character to maybe be a Selkie.
Oh, yes.
What we were discussing. And I'm like, sure, we can make a whole
campaign.
In the D&D campaign. Because I routinely put them up and they're like, where's our backup characters? Because what's the point if you're not terrorizing your players? I said, maybe I'll be a Selkie. I was like, sure, we could play one of your seals. I'm sure we could do a whole thing. Like literally, I could write a thing, and it just kind of snowballed. And then it was literally, oh, we're doing this. Oh, we're submitting this to GailCon. Hey,
we have 3 weeks. Oh no, let's go.
We have.
It was that.
Throwing this to. Oh yeah, no, because this is the thing. This all started happening, and then I'm like, we submitted this game. And it was just an idea of a game after the closing date for GailCon RPG submissions. That's how last minute this was. The game did not exist other than a blurb and etc. And we sent it, and they said, actually, this one's amazing. Yes. I'm like, okay, crap. Now I have to write this.
So you wrote with blinding speed, huh?
Oh, not the one most blinding.
No, we had a meeting with a couple of friends of ours also who work at the center, and did some brainstorming about what stories would be good and would represent Seal Rescue Ireland and our mission for education and outreach, and also tie in mythology in a very cool, interesting, specifically Irish way, and made it a night, like kind of like a gaming planning night, and then went back and forth.
A whiteboard.
Yeah.
This is not a small game. It's 32 pages, but
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a lot of writing in
look
there.
how small that type is. This is
Yeah.
dense. There is a lot here.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was quite a bit of writing that you did in a short period of time, though.
Oh yeah, I'm used to that. Like I'm used to be. I'm starting to get there again, but I used to be quite prolific in Irish game conventions between the colleges and etc.
Right.
And was quite popular, and therefore was approached by a lot of cons and say, "Hey, would you run?" So I'm used to writing, and I was approached once by a con that was there had been a problem, and the person running the con had stepped down because of problems, and then the person a person I knew, my friend Fergal, basically went, "Hey,
wait, is it the Fergal I met at the
no, it's a different Fergal."
Oh, okay.
That was Fergal months before.
Wait, you're saying there's two Fergals in Ireland?
Right, I was gonna say there's only one here.
There's two award-winning game writers called Fergal. There's actually three, but we won't get into it. Because there's another Fergal as well. But he basically went, "Hey, I'm taking over this con. The partner con director said has it down that you're going to write us a game." Because and I'm like, who is what? No, what? No. And he's like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "It's fine, it's fine." This was literally a couple of weeks before the con. And in the space of 3 weeks, I wrote an entire LARP called The Colors of Ascension, which has become my most rerun and requested LARP.
Oh.
So I'm used to. I have ADHD. I'm used to deadlines making me write well.
All that without multiple master's degrees.
Well, you see, this is the thing, because none of the master's degrees demand that I do an entire course in 3 weeks.
Right.
I am starting to believe that ADHD makes you play RPGs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it seems like our whole community has been diagnosed.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone who watches this show has it.
Yeah. So I'm quite used to that, but also it was interesting. It was interesting to run it this way, because I've done games like that where it's like, okay, yeah, and I just have to run it. And especially with LARPs, for a lot of LARPs, if it's just you, that's okay. Eventually, you're going to need two GMs if the LARP gets to a certain size. But for parlor LARPs, where it's like 10 people, maybe up to 16, you can, and depending on, I really will put it out.
I've heard them called parlor LARPs before. That's fun.
Parlor LARP.
Yeah, it's not a common term, but we used to use it to determine it from field LARP.
Yeah.
So out in the field, swinging a sword with your elf ears on, field LARP.
Oh, got it.
At home in the parlor, and it's murder mystery kind of.
Yeah, it sounds very one pinky out with your teeth.
Yeah, we would just call them con LARPs because it's happening at a convention almost never was a field LARP. It was a 3-hour LARP that happened in a room.
That's it, Jason. If we do another one of those, because we've done some of those we have a convention we go to every year called Total Con, and we get our own room. And for a number of years, we would do some kind of LARP there. And we never called it a parlor LARP, but it will now forever be called a parlor LARP.
It's like,
also because it's a very hard thing to say. Parlor.
That can be part of the mechanics. Parlor.
Oh,
I'm sorry, you lost 4 points because you lifted up your T without putting out your pinky. So I'm afraid you've lost 5 points. Yes.
But this game was a little different because why? Because you.
So one, those I just have to write well enough to run at the con.
Right.
And usually it's just for me to run at the con. Now,
I'm well known.
Yeah. So it's not being published, etc. But I do also, back in the day, way back when, like 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was basically like, it was a different model. You turned up, they wanted to know 2 people who would also run this game for you. And then they would just start grabbing staffers if they started selling more tickets.
Yeah.
And it used to be like, oh my God, you sold out to how many tables? And I sold out to 11 tables once on WarpCon. And so I started writing my convention things with a section at the start that says, oh my God, I've been told I'm running this game in 10 minutes. What the hell do I need to know? And it was just this, so it was just a short paragraph of, okay, you don't need to read this part. This is fluff. But you definitely need to know these set of rules. And sorry, my earphones have decided to pop out. Let me plug those back in. There we go. And you need to know this and you need to know that and read that, and then you should be fine. So I was used to that part, like it being playable. What I was not used to was I had to be careful. So I could have gone in and go, yeah, so the seals are going to go and they're going to attack things. And I'm like, no. This is for Seal Rescue Ireland. This is
It's not zombie killer seals from outer space.
Yeah.
Right.
Like there was, the talk of like SEAL Team Shocked, which is Irish for 7, so it's even better than SEAL Team 6. And like, and like all this kind of thing, but you can't do that because it's not on brand for the charity. So it was very different so that's why I had Blythe and another one of the managers and like people there going, okay, so what is good? What do we think this would work well? And that's why we ended up with Angler Antics and Selkie Shenanigans, because the seals and the fishermen are in cooperation to actually go after the problem.
So why don't we talk? That's a good segue. Let's talk about what the scenario is. So we've got the ship.
Yes.
So yeah, tell us about in this game, who you're playing, and you were kind enough to give me.
Okay, I got some
actual. Well, so this is the thing. So in the actual game that you can, well, I don't know if you can buy it. Can you
will
buy
be
this?
able to.
Okay,
so
yes.
You will be able to buy. There are characters in there, but you were generous and kind enough to give me copies of the actual characters that you'll get if you were to adopt a seal. So these are actual seals, Sapphire, Pearl, etc.
Yes, those were the seals that were adoptable at the time. So here's the thing with those ones. They're specific to the cons and to who is available at the time. So those are truly limited edition. So the people who have those seals have those seals. The people who don't have those seals, you can't get them anymore. So we'd have to create new ones for the new seals that are ready to be adopted. Oh, there's Pearl.
Yeah. What I love about Pearl.
I cannot imagine how you could ever work there and not just be heartbroken every day falling in love with these guys.
Oh, I am. That's how I exist.
I just comes home. I just feed her some comfort food. Like it's part of the day.
Oh, look at that.
What I do love about Pearl.
Tell us about Pearl. Yeah, tell us about Pearl.
Pearl was our first. She's a common seal pup, not one of the bigger grays. So these ones are born more in the summer months. So they have their adult fur. They're not coming in with the fluffy white Lanugo fur that you'll see on the gray seal pups. But she came in June. At very end of June. She was our 4th seal, but our first girl. And so she was our little princess for a while. She's very sweet, very gentle. And she was the one when I came into my internship, she was kind of my practice seal. So I learned how to handle the seals mostly on her first. So she was the first one that I learned how to pick up. She was the first one that I was tube feeding. And she would just kind of look at me and be like, oh, you again? Okay. What are we learning today? And we'll give them enrichment baths when they're learning how to swim and getting used to the water, which is absolutely adorable.
So tell us what's an enrichment bath? Because when I think of enrichment, I think of activities and things that make the animal happier and more being themselves.
That's what it is. Bath? So we'll have bathtubs for them. We'll feed them fish in the bathtub so they associate fish with water. And we'll do things that make their environment just a little more exciting than the kennel that they're in or in the ICU tub. So we'll go out and we'll collect seaweed and we'll bring it back and we'll put that in the tub. And the first time she saw the seaweed in her tub, she takes one look at me and swims to the other end and was like, what is the slimy stuff? You have ruined my bath. I'm like, you poop in your bath at least 4 times before you're done. It's like, this is just seaweed. She's like, nope, get it out. And
so she had to get used to what seaweed was.
Yeah. Because she was so small when we got her in.
This is going to be a big thing for her in the real world, right?
Yeah. So we're slowly exposing them to the things that they're going to encounter in the wild and getting them used to it. So they'll go from a small ICU tub where we're monitoring them and making sure that their health is good until we know that they're healthy enough to go into a larger kennel. They've got a bit more space, can explore more. We'll make sure that their weight is good before we move them into a pool, and then they'll get into a bigger pool where they're socializing with other seals. So it's a progression until they reach a nice healthy weight, and then we can bring them back to the wild, which we released 7 seals last week, and it was quite amazing. So
including some of the ones that are on these character sheets.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a question from the chat here. Shane asks, is there a theme to the seal names?
Yes. I'm glad you asked. We have a different theme every year. It helps us keep track of our seals from year to year. And this year's theme is crystals and precious stones. So we have pearl, we have nephrite, which is the form of jade. We've got moonstone, sapphire. All of our seals are named after rocks and minerals. Sapphire is so sweet. Every time I see their faces, I'm like, oh, that's my seal.
What I
Every
love is
single one of them.
I love this because Sapphire's a little chunky, and so is the
Yes.
person.
Yes.
so because it was so like we would, if we were doing this as like a Kickstarter or etc., we'd want to partner with a nice artist, whatever. We did have to do like a fair amount of computery, just make this better, that sort of a thing. But what
Yeah,
I loved was
I normally would say something, but tight timelines and a very important cause, and so
We started with their photos and then some sketches of what I imagined their human forms would look like, because I work with
because I
them
tried and
their
I got it
personalities.
wrong.
Yes. It's like, that's not what Opal looks like. Opal's blonde.
I did the thing, and then I was like, no, that's not my seal. And I'm like, you realize they're not actually Selkies. Like, that's not what the seal looks like as a human. I'm like, yes, dude. Okay.
So I have a question about Selkie. So first of all, the actual legend of Selkies. This is something that is not just in one area. I get the impression that it was both in Ireland and Scotland, and maybe more places.
Yep, there are a couple of pieces of mythology that span the gap. So, in fact, even the Giant's Causeway spans the gap, and there's legends on both sides that kind of corroborate those legends on either side, with the giants throwing things back and forth and building bridges between the islands. So, yeah,
so
there's
in the lore, is a Selkie a seal who becomes a human who becomes a seal, or something else?
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to Irish mythology. There are no clear answers. A Selkie is a creature who exists as a seal and can transform into a human, and walk on land and stay on land. And then they go back to the sea. So
the sea is their real home.
The sea is their true home. Just like a seal, they can come on land. They spend time on land. Seals have to be on land. They need to stay on land to rest. When they're pups like this, they have to stay on land to get nice and fat before they are equipped to go back into the cold water without, freezing. They need that blubber. And so they have to be on land, but their home is the sea. That is what they're designed for. They hunt there.
Does anyone know how old the Selkie legend is?
Old.
That's I mean,
it's a difficult thing. I mean, because Irish, the Irish culture goes back thousands and thousands of years. I mean, the language alone is 3,000 years old, and the
original Old Irish would be in and around that. It's hard. See, the problem is there's not much written records. In some ways, when the Catholic Church came and Christianity stamped all over our traditions, it was terrible. But also, it's the only reason we have actually some records was because the monks wrote everything down. And they wrote down these stories that all these Irish people, because otherwise it's an entirely oral tradition. Yeah. So we don't have any dating of stories beyond that. This is my Irish pagan background rather than anything else. We don't have any, so we don't know. And this is what can be really difficult once you go, because we know it was definitely a very, very, very old story at this point.
Right.
And that's about it.
That's the thing about an oral tradition, is that an oral tradition will last a lot longer than a written tradition because of the way that it's carried through, but it also means you can't date it. So, for example, in Australia, the indigenous traditions go back 40,000 years.
Yeah.
And
At least.
and an oral tradition, what's fascinating to me about an oral tradition is that it's carried through song and through poetry. And just like when you learn a song, you never forget it. And so a song gets passed on from generation to generation. And so in many ways, an oral tradition is more reliable because of that.
There's a story of the northernmost islands in Scotland, and a linguist was visiting, and they started singing a song, and it had a nonsense verse, like a hey nonny nonny verse, and he started listening, and he just got into it, and it was an extinct language. It wasn't nonsense. It was just that nobody alive knew what those sounds meant, and that's how it's amazing that it can. We unfortunately in Ireland have the mixed problem of we have these things because they got written down, and we don't have as much of the living oral tradition because that was
stamped out.
Pretty much. I try not to be too political and anti-colonialist.
Okay, I'll be a little Republican about this myself, to be honest.
We don't want to get into, sure, they bait the Irish language out of us, literally. But it was the problem. But then the wonderful side of it, because I teach at the Irish Pagan School online, and we have all these sorts of things where we try and look at what actually was, is that a lot of it did survive, because we have this weird situation in Ireland where you will have the wonderful old ladies in the rural areas that are like, I'm a good Catholic lady. There is no God but the one true God. And of course, Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and may they all bless you. And I go to church 3 times a week, 3 times to work, which Mary down the road doesn't go. She only goes twice. 3 times a week. You've got the infection in the leg. And it's like, listen, have you seen like Teresa down the road? She has like the cure. And like, they do know.
Yeah.
Oh, you got lost. Well, you need to turn your jacket inside out, right? And,
right.
That one works.
But like, so it's this weird juxtaposition where that doesn't seem like a problem.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh no, we're good Catholic people, etc. But we're still following all the old traditions somehow. It's like
and that's the story that's been true for hundreds, centuries, maybe millennia. Yeah. I mean, the thing about, before we go back to this on oral tradition, is that all of us individuals, we remember songs our parents sung to us. The things that get stuck in your head forever. And ironically, the only reason I can always remember that the indigenous story of Australia goes back 40,000 years is because of a modern song from Midnight Oil. Right? So Midnight Oil, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, I like this band Midnight Oil. And they have the line in it that says 40,000 years, it makes a difference. I'll never forget the line, because in a song, I now know how old, the traditions of Australia are. And that just kind of reminds me that oral traditions, because songs, we're just built that way as human beings, songs stay with us. And I think that it's interesting that in many ways, oral traditions last longer than written traditions because of that, because you can lose a piece of writing. Plato, I think it was Plato that was upset because all these kids were forgetting how to remember things because they were writing it all down with this new technology called writing. Right. So they were losing their traditions.
Right. It's like, how's anyone going to remember anything if you can just write it down? You're ruining. Your
memory is going to be shot if you just write it down.
Right. Boy, can you imagine if he saw AI?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh Lord.
Don't give the tech bros any ideas about Plato coming back.
No.
So back to the Selkie. So yes. So I was just asking about the Selkie. So we're back here to the game itself.
Yes.
So we said, hey, wouldn't it be great? Because originally it was just, hey, I'll write a game, and what it'll be is we'll run at GaelCon, and you can have a stall, and we can sell the game that I ran, and people might like it, and they might raise some money for the seals. And then we knew that the seals were up for adoption, because they cycle through, and there's certain seals up for adoption. And I can't actually remember if it was myself or Blythe who said, what if we just made character sheets for the seals? And it just kind of snowballed from there, because these characters, when it says character sheets, like, this is them. So
that's the seal's personality. That is the actual seal's personality.
What these seals are like.
Let's talk about what we're looking at on the character sheet here. We'll talk about the mechanics a little bit. Give us a description of what we're seeing.
So you're seeing, obviously, player name, the character. In the system I came up, everybody is either a child, a juvenile, or adult, because also Selkie aging is different than human aging. So it's just child, juvenile, adult, all the usual stuff. And so
one many lots.
Yes, one many lots. So sea and land is basically, are you on land? Great, use these set of things. Are you in the sea? Okay, use these set of things. Because if you're a Selkie and you're in the sea and the land, you're in a different form. And if you're a human and you're in the sea and the land, you're in a different set of circumstances, because you may be 4 strength on land, but you ain't got nothing to push against in the sea. So that's going to end your
yes.
Exactly. So regardless of whether you are a human or a Selkie, your stats are going to be slightly different with whether you're on land or whether you're on sea.
Let's talk about the core mechanic to put these stats in some context. So essentially, the number that you have on your stat is the number of D6s that you're going to roll.
Because as we said earlier, everybody's D6, so I want it to be nice and simple.
Definitely.
And literally, you have a target number set with a gem, depending on whether this is an easy thing or whatever it is. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So Peter's brought it up on the screen. So let's walk through this.
So you have a target number that you're trying to hit, and you roll that number D6, and you hit the target number, then you do the thing. Or if you don't hit the target number, you don't do the thing. And
so, for example, if it's easy, you only have a target number of 6.
So you have a 1 in 6 chance of doing that with 1 dice. So even if you are literally the lowest possible stat in this, you could do it. It's not beyond possibility, because it's an easy thing to do.
So I like the example here for strength. The easiest thing, opening a jar of pickles.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, I have failed that roll.
You've only got a 1 in 6 chance of doing that. If you've got 1 star, I will point it out. But yeah, and I did want to, like, I have always, when I've written games, I like, influenced by Terry Pratchett, I like to inject like humor and a little bit of sardonic realism and stuff into it. So you roll that, but 6s explode. So if you roll a 6,
oh right, yeah, we do have exploding dice in this. Yes.
Okay.
So if you roll a 6, you keep that 6, but you re-roll that dice. This led to notably 7-year-olds breaking the game by taking 4 dice, and you see the super hard one is 27. One of them got 43. And I'm like, this is because you do that. You do a game, and I did. I got a probability sheets, and I did all the calculations trying to get these numbers at a good level of what's possible. And then in one game, a load of 7-year-olds broke probability. Right? Like they do it, the children do that anyway, but this was impressive. So yes, the whole point being that technically, you could do a super hard thing even on 1 dice. It's very unlikely, but it's possible, because I always like the idea that everything is very, very unlikely, but possible. And so therefore, it's basically along the lines of, if you have a tree in something, you're almost always going to be able to do the easy thing. So the tree is the middle, and 5.
You should be able to get a 6 on a 3. Yeah.
You should be able, with 3 dice, you would be unlucky to not get a 6. A total of 6 on that dice. So yeah, and then you have all this, because I also wanted to, because whenever they're like, hey, if this is an easy task, if this is a medium task, but it very rarely a system that explains what the heck that means. So I always like to try and kind of give some kind of comparison. So it's, and then the traits are strength, skill, smart, sense, and sass, because I love alliteration, and syllabants. So it was great. Strength being obviously, smarts being an all together kind of intelligence, sense being not only your sense of the world around you, but your common sense and your sensibilities, and sass being an all-round kind of a charisma social. And the skill is specifically, you have skills, and so you can use your skill stat for any of these things that are listed in your skill, if you can explain to the GM why this skill applies.
Right.
which is
So
why.
let's give some examples of the skills. So for example, one of them is how dare you?
So this is the thing. For the characters in the game itself, for the original scenario, most of the skills are more practical, like fishing or this or etc. For
Oh,
the seals that we made that are adoptable, we went a little out there. So literally, I think that is Opal you're reading from. Because
is Pearl, but yes.
Pearl, okay. So it's basically if you can, because Pearl was very much a social character. It's like, how dare you? Excuse me, like this kind of a powerful queen bee kind of a mentality. So if you can explain to me, and that could be applied in a lot of ways. It could be a very social kind of like somebody fronting up and you go, how dare you? But it could also be a really supportive. How dare you talk about my friend like that? What? Do not put yourself down. Like it could, like there's a lot of ways you can apply that. And that's what I really like about kind of broader stating of skills. And so pretty much all of the adoptable seals have these really broad things that are more about the personality than are about any real world skills. But it's also great because you end up with players being very imaginative.
So for your seals, when you're making up the actual seals that you had as player characters, are these skills? Did you make this character up based upon your interaction with the seal? Like, is this how they acted?
100%, 100%. Because I work with these animals on a daily basis, and they all have very individual personalities.
Yeah.
And they have big personalities. So even as I was envisioning what they would look like as humans, that came forward. Like Galaxite is like, he's the cool boy. He's chill. Like he would be. We have two seals, Galaxite and Moonstone, who kind of grew up together, and Moonstone was the very like. If I imagine them as a boy band, Moonstone was the lead vocals, and then Galaxite is the one who's like doing the rap portions of the songs.
Yeah.
So he was like the cool guy who is more chill, just like solid, but you want to be his best friend. That's Galaxite.
Okay.
Opal was an absolute queen from the time this seal showed up. You could not make her do anything she didn't want to do, but she charmed absolutely everybody. So that came through in her character. Pearl, our first girl of the season, was an absolute princess all the way. Didn't really want to do anything for herself. Why should she? She's just a girl. To this day, she's still like that.
So cute. I don't need to do any of that.
100%.
That literally ended up being one of Pearl's skills is, but I'm just a girl. Like,
it's so funny that you said that about Galaxite, because about the boy band, because when I saw this character, there's a band I really like called from Korea called Balming Tiger, and they have a member, Omega Sapien, who is exactly this personality. So look up Omega Sapien and you're going to see Galaxite as a real person.
That's amazing. I'm definitely going to do this.
And of course,
I like that name.
Yeah, Omega Sapien. Check him out, everybody. He's the best.
All of Blythe's seal descriptions are not at all influenced by her obsession with K-pop demon hunters. So they aren't, because I showed her that after this. So they aren't. She just was always like that, apparently. But yeah, it was wonderful. Like I wouldn't ever, most of it, like the stats are all me, but the descriptions, the personalities, that's all Blythe. She just basically went, no, or corrected me if I tried to go off on my own. And she'd be like, that's not what they're like. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You just tell me what they're like and we'll get it together and we'll make them.
I always love hearing how people, when you collaborate on a writing project, how it comes about, because there's an infinite number of ways to collaborate on a writing project. Tell us more about that.
We just kind of
collaborate with.
Yeah, I think you're amazing to collaborate with. And because we've got so many similarities where it counts, but also very different strengths. We're both storytellers in different ways. And Ian loves the mechanics and really getting into like the numbers and how this is going to work and what happens when you roll in the probabilities. And I'm like, numbers? Okay, you lost me. Whatever. I just like the clacky math dice. Like, I'm not going to do the math though, but I'll come up with concepts and with the storyline and the theories behind it, like how to incorporate the mythology and the education and even the science that comes into it, and the deeper message behind the game itself, which was the fishermen and the Selkies coming together to fight the actual problem instead of fighting each other, and blaming each other for the problem that was at hand. And that's kind of a bigger world problem, and it's something that actually relates to the seals, as far as one of the threats that face them is overfishing. And people like to point back and forth like, oh, there's too many seals and they're stealing all the fish. It's like, well, they can't eat carrots. So
yeah.
And the fishermen have, like the local fishermen have been there for centuries working within the seasons of fish and have not severely impacted the fish populations until the large fisheries come around and bottom trawl and take everything out of the ocean and deplete entire populations. And that's the problem. So that's what happens in the story, is that these two factions have to come together and cooperate to take down the actual problem and not the perceived one.
This is crazy. You have serendipitous type things that happen in life. Some people believe in, I'm a science guy. I don't really believe in karma or any of that kind of stuff, but there is something that's just happening right now. It's very serendipitous. I was just today watching a video by this guy, Johnny Harris, which I really
Another one. Yep.
I watched the show, and he's talking about the ships that go dark and how they are fishing areas they shouldn't be fishing. And the way they do it is they turn off their transponders so that no one knows where they are. And I was like, oh my God, that's awful. And I guarantee you this is some of that, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's wow. That's very, very timely.
Yeah.
We're actually facing Europe wide, where a lot of the other marine mammal rescues are facing the same problem that we are. We've had a lot of difficulty getting fish this year. Our local sources are having to outsource to bring the fish to us. And we've been getting boxes full of fish that are horrible looking. And most of them are trash fish. We wouldn't be able to feed them to the seals anyway. They don't look good. They've got parasites. They're torn apart.
Oh.
And then we'll get boxes full of all kinds of strange bycatch. And some of these bycatch are deep sea species and lots of dogfish and even some endangered species. And we know that this is from bottom trawling, where they're just taking everything that they can in a huge net. And unfortunately, we're at the point now where we're actually having to go to essentially the enemy because we can't get the fish any other way. So when we're talking to people in our education, we're like, if fish is part of your diet, please source locally and check for fish that are within season, because that really does have an impact. And we're seeing this now because our funding that would cover our fish budget doesn't anymore. And we're having difficulty getting what we need.
What you're saying about source locally, this is something, what can we do individually, right? When you buy fish, source locally is really important, because the horrible truth about the fishing industry is that if you are getting fish anywhere other than locally, they will mislabel it. When by the time that the fish gets to your local grocery store, yeah, there are laws that say you have to say what this is. But the truth is, there's the fisherman somewhere, and then there's about 10 different steps in between here and getting to your store, where at any point they can just label it whatever they like. And by the time it gets to a certain market, there's no way to verify what it is you actually have. So they might be selling you, like you said, an endangered species or something that they're not supposed to be fishing at all, but because they're just interested in getting the money out of it, they're like, well, I can get away with this.
I think there's a type of fish that looks like salmon and people sell it as salmon, but it's actually this it's a fish and it kind of tastes like it apparently, but the oil in it makes you sick. Like it messes with your digestive system, and places have been caught selling that, to consumers, telling them it was salmon and it wasn't. And
maybe that's the only way we're going to get people to actually pay attention, is to appeal to their self-interest and say, well, you're going to get sick from this.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
Or if you've heard that there was an expose on This American Life about what your calamari actually might be. You've all heard what the calamari might actually be?
No, we're vegetarians, so we don't.
Well, I don't eat it either, and this is a major reason for it. Is that there is a serious, true story that rather than selling you actual calamari, they're selling you bung.
Okay.
Bung, as in
Sphincters.
a sphincter. That's because if you cut up a pig sphincter, it's going to look like calamari.
Lovely.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I'm all for if you're gonna eat an animal, use every part, but label it.
So
tell me I'm eating bung, you know?
Yeah. So I think, if you are a fish eater, get it locally. Make sure you know where it's actually been caught, that you're not eating the wrong thing and that you're not eating something that the seals actually need.
And it's interesting. I love fish, and I had never considered.
You live in Maryland.
Yeah, I live. But I never really considered all this stuff, and I'm glad we're having this discussion because it'll help me when I'm buying fish for the family or whatever, to make sure that I'm not buying something I shouldn't be buying. But I wouldn't even know to look. I would never even known to think about this.
I'll still never understand this. I'm born in Baltimore originally. I don't live there anymore, but Peter, you live near there. Peter doesn't. You're all vegetarian, so you don't. But Peter won't eat crab. Maryland is. That's what Maryland's known for.
I know.
You go down, they're coming in right off the boats. It's fresh.
I get this. I get it all. I get it all the time. People ever like, did you grow up here? I'm like, yes, I grew up here. You don't eat blue crab? No, I don't eat blue crab.
Yeah, but I'm off topic. Let's come back to Galaxy item.
All right, Galaxy. Galaxy is wonderful. So yeah, from my side of the collaboration, what was really amazing was I do very well with once I have the seed of an idea. I can expand. I can, like you saw the reams of backstory and things that I put in there and personality, but it was interesting, not just with the seals, the actual adoptable seals, but with the characters, the player characters, because I didn't just do the seals with Blythe. Blythe was also helping me with the actual scenario. And it was her, she would have like these things of, that doesn't mean, would they not be like this? Oh, I love this about them. And it was wonderful because it ended up giving me little core seeds and kernels that I could just spin everything else away from. So it made, for me, it is the easiest writing I have done in years, because, which I've said to you, it's the easiest writing I've done in years, because sometimes the hardest part is like starting.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hardest part is, where do I start with this character? And she'll just come in and go, so he's a himbo or a dembo. And I'm like, yeah, kind of. Like, and I ended up writing an entire character in the scenario, Quinn, and it's literally all of the backstories are in their own voice. So it's like, you like working, some the other guys stay inside and do things, something to do with maths. You're not sure if it's straw maths or, other kinds of maths, but they're very into their maths. And you work hard, everybody likes you, except that one time when you brought the barrel in, I said, where do you want it? He said, throw it in the corner. I said, are you sure? He said, yes. Listen, if you're going to tell me to throw a barrel in the corner, make sure it's a throwable barrel. That's not my fault. So that kind of, it was really fun because she was giving me more personality that I could bounce off of. And I love being able to do that. Most of the games I've ever written, I try to have your character. Because again, these are con games, so often it's like, this is all you've got to run for your role playing, is whatever is written in front of you. So for the first game I ever wrote, Dungeons, Dimensions, and Dragons, set in Discworld, which is the backup team sent by Veterinary to sort out a Dungeon Dimension incursion. And every
so for those who don't know, in Discworld, the Dungeon Dimensions are going to wear all of the things that the scary, where the wild things are.
Cthulhu-esque kind of like tentacly monsters.
Yeah, and it's interesting because Sir Pateri never really, went too much into the Dungeon Dimensions in the books. They were always just sort of, who knows if he ever would have gone there, right? So it's left this very rich vein to mine.
But I didn't know because this was the first game I'd ever written. So I went, oh well, I'll just do that, and I did different formatting. There was different. Every character sheet had a different font that was aligned to the character. There's different formatting. The Trolls character sheet was in giant writing with ink blots all over it, and I've carried that forward in most of my things. Is that I try to make the character sheets as if the character is embodied in them, and it was so much easier to do that when I had light, like reading through and going, oh, they sound like this. Oh, it does.
Yeah. So now with the game itself, what are some of the things that you're doing in terms of using this as a fundraising for Seal Rescue Ireland, and what's the plans going forward?
That's a great question. One of the things that I wanted to do is make this game something that we could build off of. So this first convention was kind of a test to see if it would be received well, if it would be something that we might want to continue. Obviously, with the seals that were adoptable, like Alex, these guys are no longer up for adoption anymore. We've got different seals now. So my thought was, for every convention that we go to, would make the new characters according to the seals that we have, so that each time we show up at a con, the people who are there can collect their seals, and it can be like a limited edition thing that's very special. You can only get it, these seal drops when you can get them. But we wanted the game to be something that was accessible to more people. So we will have it available as a download on the website. That should be coming up soon. We wanted to make a couple more edits to it after having gone through a convention and seeing that a piece here or there.
We didn't get a chance to playtest. So when I went to the convention, I'm like, oh, also this entire paragraph I need to delete this. And everything, as always happens.
Yeah.
Always happens. You never find your most egregious typo until you've published. And then somebody's like, actually, that's not spelled that way. And you're like, yes, I know. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we wanted to polish it up a little bit. It should be up on the website on the gift shop fairly soon. So if you wanted to check it out, go to sealrescueireland.org. There's a gift shop there as well. And you can sign up to the newsletter for pup dates. And that should also keep you up to date with what's, pup dates.
Monthly pup dates.
I love it.
Seal pup dates for news events and things that are going on at the center. So if you want to stay
and we'll
informed
put it
that way.
in that newsletter when we launch on. There's also one of the amazing things was, and I found this as I ended up deepening the lore because of what some of the players were doing. Because you will go, and this is the world, and the players go, but what's that over there? And I'm like, this. And okay, cool. Let's start with that. I'm like, okay, and it makes entire sense, and it fits really well in the world, but it's not in the scenario because it emerged as part of the game, which is what happens when you can't say no to small children who want to play your game, and you end up running a 6-person game for 9 people. But that's another story entirely.
And we wanted to make the game something that we could possibly build on. So now Rowan's Bay has its own mythology and its own base. We might do different, what's the word, expansions.
You were asking from the Tales from Rowan Bay system.
Yeah, because it was mentioned in there, but I didn't know what Tales from Rowan Bay was.
It's the name I made up because
wait, that wasn't a game that was out in the world before this.
Nope.
Okay, I don't feel so bad about this now.
No. So basically, whenever you submit a game to an Irish Game Convention, one of the questions is, what system is this?
Yeah.
And they just ended up putting homebrew because it is homebrew. But I was saying, well, if we're going to possibly be doing multiples of these over the years for the things, let's start it. Okay, this is the Tales from Rowan Bay system. And that way, if we do another scenario for another con next year, it can have that, and it will be the same system so that each will be playable with the same set of rules. And also, if you adopted a seal, it doesn't matter if you adopted them last year or if you adopted them this year, that seal character sheet can be played in Tales from Rowan Bay systems. And we had three young boys that all adopted their own seal and then came to the game with the seals they adopted and played them. And oh my God, they played the hell out of those seals because they were like, this is my seal, and I adopted them because of that personality. This adorable child picked Jet. Is Jet or Howlite? Jet, the dramatic flair one was Jet?
Jet is the drama one. Howlite is just absolute chaos.
It was literally this child is born to be in musical theatre. Everything was like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? And just, I dramatically jump on the thing to distract the fisherman. And I'm like, oh my lord, child. Okay, you picked the right seal for you, didn't you? And it was wonderful to do. And that's how I ended up being able to run, because people brought their own characters, so I didn't need to write extra characters. So I could run for a little extra. It was interesting. It was spinning plates. And there was a drawing on all of my experience with small children of like, okay, what are you doing? I can see your hand, child, but I will with you in a moment. We're going to roll over this and this. Yes, I know you did it as well, but that person went first, so we're going to. It's just like spinning. It's like running. If you ever run for children, it's it's less about the game and more about attention spans and wrangling cats with ADHD. So,
I have to say, I feel blessed by the fact that often at conventions I will have children will come to the games, and I just think it's the best.
Oh, it is learning. Like, I've learned far more about how games are broken and need to be protected and etc. or accounted for. No, like I have chaos player. My entire D&D party is basically chaos goblins. I don't write plot for them anymore. I don't need to. Why would I? I'll write a pretty plot and then I'll ignore it while they go investigate the weird goblin NPC that I made up off the top of my head 3 games ago that they've decided is their new best friend. So I don't write plot anymore. I just watch their chaos. And then what I'll do is I'll present them the consequences of their actions while they call me mean. I'm just like, not my fault you did the thing. I'm not the mean one. So it's all about, like, I remember writing Cogs and Dogs, which is what when Discworld Wars bring a steam mech to a werewolf fight. Yeah. And they got to build and ting the mech. And so this kid comes to me and goes, okay, so we've got this like steam cannon for harpoons, yes. So I could put anything like a sabot in it and it would launch the stuff. I was like, yes. Okay, so we're going to get a chicken. And I'm like, okay. We're going to soak the chicken in garlic oil. All right. And then we're going to put silver armor in, because you said we got silver. Yes. And then we're going to sit the chicken in with the sabot. We're going to launch it. Because that way the chicken will be scared, it'll run around. And if it's a vampire, it'll bite it and it'll get garlic oil. And if it's a werewolf, it'll bite it and it'll get the silver. And this is the weird thing, because like I was explaining this to someone, in one of the books in Discworld, a werewolf is actually defeated by fetch. Like, it is actually defeated by throwing something dangerous and it can't not react. And I'm like, oh my God, child. Oh my God, child, you are an evil genius. Please never take over the world. It is always the children who just like, because they have no bounds. They have yet to be told you can't do things. Right. So they come up with these, oh my God.
Which is why they're the best players in RPGs, where the rule is you can attempt anything. Don't know if it'll work, but you can attempt it.
Then the children will win.
So we have right now the sort of zine style approach, and you said you'll be selling PDF on the site. What do you think of long-term plans? A hardcover, a something that you could see getting distributed, put out by a publisher? Where would you like
I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be able to grow it, maybe even have a board game where everything comes right back to help the seals, because one, gamers are awesome and they love their games and they love to help charities. That's been a common theme, at least, especially with Ireland. All the gaming conventions help charities. And
you need to have some adoptable seals in the next auction.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I mean, where people will bid €1,000 on absolutely nothing.
I would love to have that. That's absolutely a goal.
The next one, because we are thinking about a couple of conventions next year, Dacticon and
will you be at Leprechaun?
Maybe.
Okay.
We will. It is on our short list of possibilities.
Okay.
Because then, now that it's like limited edition, you could have an auction of, here is a character sheet for all of the seals that are currently up for adoption.
Yeah.
Oh, once we leave this con, these are not going to be available, because by the time you can meet us at the next con, it's going to be different seals that are up for adoption.
Yeah. And auction attendees at Irish cons are very generous.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They are, and there's nothing like the enthusiasm of a gamer and a cute animal at the same time. It's just like
Yeah, that's right. Because
cute animal and a
this
cause.
year's auction was all supporting. What's the word I'm looking for here?
Dog assistance dogs for
assistance dogs was all I could think of. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but yeah, assistance dogs. So
yeah, you know, we run top secret games, obviously, at conventions and stuff. I purposely have never ever put a guard dog in any adventure ever, because I don't want there to even be a remote possibility that a player tries to kill one of the dogs in my game. That's not happening, because that dog, I mean, I shoot it point blank. Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
It's fine.
Yeah, you can't kill it. It's invincible.
So when I run Top Secret, because Top Secret is set in the modern world, I let people look at things on their phones, and I say, okay, you're in Istanbul, for example, look up on Street View. And in one of my games, somebody looked on Street View and they said, oh, there's a cat, because, you know, it's Istanbul, so there's cats everywhere. And so they're like, I'm going to pet the cat. I want to make the cat follow me. And so pretty quickly they had a cat companion, and I just told them flat out at the beginning, nothing bad will happen to your cat. In my game, your cat will be fine from start to end.
When I tell you, I rewrote the entire rules of the universe and D&D rules to turn just an adopted steed into a familiar, so that it could not be killed, because I came very close. And I'm not like at that game. This campaign could have survived 1, 2 of the characters dying, no problem. They would have gone. Yeah. If not that dog had gone down, that was it. My marriage probably would have survived, maybe. But and so I was like, it is now a familiar.
Yeah.
If worst case scenario, it goes poof and it'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would love to see this end up. I would love to see Angler Antics and Selkie Shenanigans, which I keep just referring to as Selkie Shenanigans, but I know it's the longer name. I would love to see this coming out from a publisher. Who knows? Maybe talk to Solarian. Maybe we could talk to you about it. But I'm excited about the fact that you've done something that is doing good through having fun. And I wrote really just to hope that people will go and play this, and that they will adopt a seal and support this very important mission that I'm so excited that we're able to talk about tonight. So thank you for coming on to talk with us about this.
And thanks for all the cute.
So much for having us. It was an amazing experience.
Thanks for all the cute pictures of the seals. They're awesome. That was just like, as soon as we were talking, I was talking to Jason just shortly before we went on, and I was like, how could this not be good? Look at these cute little seals. They're awesome.
I will have email you a special slide reel of just the ridiculousness.
Oh my God.
Please.
My favorite one has always been Moonstone, which is one of the adoptable seals. He doesn't. I'm
here we go.
He was not adoptable anymore by the time we ran the game. So I'm the only one with this character sheet, because this is my favorite seal.
Okay.
Oh, just a quick thing from the chat. So Brian in the chat says, can a Selkie be harmed in its seal form? That is an important point about this game, is that if the worst thing happens, your character's not going to die. That doesn't happen in this game.
It is written in the it is written in the rules, and it's literally written with it sounds like, yes, this is a storytelling game. This is not a realistic game. It's literally said it's not a realistic game. Nobody's going to die. If the absolute worst happens, they are almost completely incapacitated. They are basically being carried along by their friends and just able to talk for the rest of the game.
Yeah, they'll come back later.
They'll come the next game or whatever. They can still participate as part of the story, but okay, if they've managed to screw up so badly, they are incapacitated and not able to roll, but they're still part of the story, because there were literal, when I say 7, there were literal 7-year-olds playing, and I'm not killing a seal in front of a 7-year-old. It's literally not the seal that just adopted. That is not happening. So I have very strong feelings.
All right, so to wrap up, let's let everybody know what they can do, where they can go to support Seal Rescue, where they can go to find out more about the game, and to follow you overall.
SealRescueIreland.org. Go right to the website. We've got the adoption list there. You can check out the seals. We always have bundles going on. You can adopt more than one. And currently the sheets for the special characters are only available at cons. that might change over the years. That would be fantastic, but that would be something that we would have to build on, and some place that I would love to be able to take this. But currently they are very limited editions. So come and find us at the cons when we're there. You can follow us on social media, so you'll get a heads up as to where we'll be. And again, sign up for the newsletter, and that will let you know what's going on at the center, what's happening with the seals, why we're doing this, because we're not doing this just because it's a fun game. We're doing this to help the seals, and to get them back up to health and get them back in the wild where they're supposed to be. As
If you follow,
happy seals.
if you search Seal Rescue Ireland on Instagram specifically, you will then just be able to see adorable seal videos and pics.
Yes.
Which is, there you go. There you go. Seal Rescue Ireland.
Wonderful, wonderful.
That is my favorite of their social medias and stuff. It's adorable.
Well,
All right,
thank you again for staying up so very late, your time zone, for us, and we really appreciate that, and hope that everybody will follow you. So everybody in the chat, thanks for joining us tonight, and of course, subscribe, like, comment, leave reviews, whatever you can do to help us out.
Donate to Seal Rescue.
Please, that is the most important.
Yeah.
Don't forget us. Just help us, please. And we will see you all next week on Tabletop Weekly. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you